Well, hey everybody, how's it going? I am Fist-25. Welcome back to Fisting Jawa Save the Universe. I am here today to give you a basic overview on components in Star Citizen. This is part of a longer series Joe and I are going to do on components, and we're going to talk about things like shields and salvage heads and mining heads and quantum drives and coolers and power plants and all that kind of fun stuff. But first off, I think I need to give you a primer on components and at their basic level. So before I switch over to the intro, I just want to say, hey, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Help us keep the lights on. And if you are so inclined, please join us on our stream. We stream every Thursday at 7 p.m. Mountain Time with the B team. And we also stream Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Mountain Time with Jawa on Twitch. The Thursday streams on YouTube and Twitch. You can join us there. And if you want to help out the channel, please feel free to send us a super chat or, become a YouTube channel member, or give us your Amazon Prime subscription on Twitch. And that helps us put a few bucks in our pocket and keep the lights on. And we end up giving all the money back away to the community through giveaways, so any support would be appreciated. All right, enough of that. Let's kick off the intro real quick, and then we'll get into the basics of components in Star Citizen. All right, so the first thing with components we need to realize is that components have a class. There are 4 types of components with Star Citizen. We're going to start with the civilian class. The civilian class is balanced and accessible to most players. Civilian components are versatile and widely purchasable, and they offer cost-efficient solutions for general purpose use. They tend to be ideal for early game and multi-role setups. Moderate performance in civilian components gives you a sense of reliability of functionality, but they do lack specialization for combat, stealth, or the durability of industrial tasking. Most, I think if not all, civilian components are purchasable across all the grades, including quite a few grade A components with civilian components. Why should you, the player, select a civilian component? Well, civilian components are excellent for their affordability and their versatility, especially if you're starting out and with low-risk missions. Some examples of civilian components in comparison to other classes of components would be the Chimera Quantum Drive. It's a civilian size 2 drive. It costs roughly 79,800 alpha UEC. Keep in mind that it's size 2, provides a speed of about 282,000 kilometers a second. It has a cooldown time of 15.6 seconds, EM signature of 31,500. It is actually really affordable, and it is well suited for just general travel around the verse in Stanton or Pyro. Being a grade A drive, the drive is really highly efficient and boasts a faster stage 1 and stage 2 acceleration than its counterparts, say, in the industrial class. With an industrial comparison, the Hurricane Quantum Drive is priced a little bit less at 71,820 alpha UEC. And it actually offers a faster quantum speed of 314,000 kilometers a second. But it has a longer cooldown of 37.8 seconds, much higher EM signature of 45,900. And really that emphasizes efficiency for price for extended operations. The industrial drive has more hit points than the civilian drive and presumably would last longer than the faster but more expensive civilian drive. Another quick example is size 1 shields. The civilian grade C 5SA Rada shield goes for about 17,800 alpha UEC. It offers 1,610 hit points. Shield hit points, a regeneration rate of 108, and it consumes 2 units of power. That's suitable for light defense of a starter ship and a type of a shield. In comparison with competition, the competition grade C Targa shield has dramatically more shield hit points at 2,240 and regenerates faster at 150 units. but it also costs double that amount at 34,585 alpha UEC and provides much less hit point durability. And they're more suitable for hit and run tactics or for competition-based gameplay like racing. So civilian components balance the affordability and moderate performance, making them perfect for new players or multi-role ships. Next up, we have military components. Military components are optimized for high-stakes combat, offering faster cooldowns, high durability, and rapid regeneration. Military components are not purchasable in 4.0 right now across all grades. It requires players to acquire them through looting, salvage, or as a mission reward. Why would you want a military component? Well, they're essential for combat scenarios where durability, regeneration, and consistent performance are critical. Some examples of military components compared across other classes. The VK00 Quantum Drive is not purchasable, but it is a size 1 grade A quantum drive, and it has the best speed out of all the size 1 drives at 266,000 kilometers a second. It does have a high cooldown rate of 12.5 seconds and an average EM signature of 23,400. So it excels in combat mobility at the cost of efficiency, power consumption, even though it only takes 1 tick, and quantum fuel requirements. Many ships can't make a full jump across Stanton with this drive. They would have to stop and refuel because it does consume so much fuel. In comparison, the grade A Atlas Quantum Drive, which is size 1, that is a civilian drive. It is above average price at about 39,900 alpha UEC. It is slightly slower than the VK00 at 242,000 kilometers a second, but it has a shorter cooldown time and a lower power requirement than the military drive. It also has a significantly lower hit points for the part, making it less durable. But it is accessible and affordable, unlike the military drive. Something like a power plant, like the military grade size 2 grade B bolide power plant, again not purchasable. It generates about 19 units of power, average EM signature of 15,000. It supports energy intensive combat systems, but to be honest, it's really not that impressive. It can take a hit with the most part hit points of 1,500 as a military component in its size, grade, and class. In comparison with the industrial counterpart, the Sedulity size 2 grade B power plant, it's priced at about 75,240 alpha UEC. Keep in mind, these are size 2. They generate 19 units of power, the same as the bolide, same as the military, but it has a lower EM signature of 12,500. As a trade-off, it has less part hit points at 13,000 hit points, which really prioritizes the efficiency for sustained use. The impact to you in gameplay, military components provide a performance edge in combat, but require effort and progression to acquire. Third up on the list are industrial components. Industrial components are durable and efficient. They prioritize long-term reliability and operational efficiency, making them essential for mining, cargo hauling, and prolonged missions. Think exploring. They are widely accessible. Industrial components are generally purchasable across all grades, including some grade A options, actually a lot of grade A options. Why would you want an industrial component? Well, they are critical for players prioritizing efficiency and durability, particularly in economic or resource-driven gameplay. Some examples of industrial drives in comparison to other classes. The grade B size 1 industrial Colossus quantum drive is priced at about 35,900 alpha UEC. It has an impressive quantum speed of 257,000 kilometers a second, but it has a massive cooldown time of 21 seconds for a size 1 drive. This industrial drive does have the most fuel efficiency of all quantum drives for that size and class, but that trades off with a high EM signature and very slow acceleration times. In comparison, the civilian Voyage grade B size 1 quantum drive can be purchased for 28,350, so it's cheaper, but it's slower, clocking in at only 198,000 kilometers a second. In turn, it does have a shorter cooldown of about 10 seconds after you finish quantum, and a drastically lower EM signature of only 15,000. It is not as efficient as the industrial drive, but it has faster acceleration. Rather than faster overall maximum speed, making it more versatile for shorter missions. Another comparison is shields. Industrial 6SA Size 1 Grade B Arbiter Shield. Priced for about 21,375 Alpha UEC. Comes in at 1,610 shield hit points. Slow regeneration of 108 units. An average EM signature of 1,050. But it has high durability at 520 component hit points for prolonged engagements. In comparison to a stealth component, a stealth grade B size 1 Veil Shield would trade the durability of 440 component hit points, less than the industrial, for lower detectability, right? The stealth has an EM signature of 134 compared to 1,050, which is the industrial drive has. The stealth shield also has less shield hit points at 1,280, but it also consumes less power. The main drawback in stealth components is that they are not purchasable and must be looted, scavenged, and rewarded unless they came on a ship you purchased. The impact on gameplay for industrial components, they excel in sustained operations. They are the most efficient, usually, offering players cost efficiency and resilience in long-term missions. So let's move on to stealth. Stealth has low detectability, right? Stealth components, they minimize EM, which is electromagnetic radiation, and IR signatures, which is infrared radiation, making them invaluable for covert missions or like smuggling operations. Grade A stealth is not purchasable. None of the grade A stealth components are purchasable in 4.0, but sometimes and typically lower grade stealth components are purchasable, such as grade B, C, and D. I don't think I've ran into any C or D level components that are not purchasable, but some of the B levels are not. Why would you want stealth? Well, stealth is ideal for players who prioritize avoiding detection in sensitive or high-risk environments. Some comparison examples with stealth components is the size 1 grade B Delta Max power plant. Can be bought for about 65,340 Alpha UEC. It creates 13 units of power, which is the lowest of all the size 1 power plants. Has low component hit points, but an extremely low EM signature of 1,740. In comparison to the industrial size 1 grade B and endurance industrial power plant, which creates more units of power at 15, not that much, but more. It has way more hit points for the component at 810, and it also has a huge EM signature at 9,840. In the realm of coolers, the Stealth Vapor Block size 1 grade B cooler, priced in at about 23,760 Alpha UEC, is expensive. And it generates 14 cooling units, which is the lowest among size 1 coolers. But it consumes just 1 unit of power. So it has a low EM signature of 134 and an IR signature of 1,250, optimized for low detectability missions. The civilian comparison is the size 1 grade B flash freeze cooler. It costs way less at 10,800 Alpha UEC. It generates slightly more cooling with 16 units, but with a much higher EM signature of 750 and an IR signature of 4,000. Better for general missions where stealth is not required. So, impact on gameplay for stealth, they enable unique playstyles focused on evasion, but often come at a premium in terms of acquisition or the performance trade-off. Finally, the last class of component, my favorite, is the competition components in 4.0. All right, just had a server crash, so I'm just coming back now. But let's talk about competition components. So, with competition components, they give you peak performance, right? Competition components prioritize speed, agility, and rapid response, making them ideal for racing or time-sensitive missions. However, they often do trade durability and long-term efficiency for short-term performance. Competition components are specialized for high-performance ships that require precision and quick adaptability during intense scenarios. Competition components are purchasable, including higher grades like Grade A. If a Grade A competition part exists, many parts are only Grade B and lower. This accessibility makes them attractive for players focusing on racing or short-duration, high-output missions. Fact is, there are some components that just don't exist as competition Grade A. Why would you like to, as the player, have competition components? Well, they are high speed, right? They are ideal for players who value rapid reaction times and precision in time sensitive scenarios like racing or hit and run tactics. They are best suited for roles where raw performance is required over sustainability or durability, such as competitive gameplay. Some of the examples with competition versus other classes of components: the Zero Rush Competition Size 1 Grade B Cooler is priced pretty high at 18,900 alpha UEC, but it does generate a high amount of cooling at 24 cooling units, the highest for its grade, consuming an average of 2 units of power, size 1, with a low EM signature of 781. It does excel in short bursts of high performance, which is perfect for a competitive ship. A civilian comparison: the size 1 Gray B Military Polar Cooler, which can't be purchased, so it must be one, generates fewer cooling units, only 19.8, and takes up 3 power segments, but it's only 1 tick at a time, so it's not as effective. It consumes more power, but with only the 1 tick requirement. It does have the same EM signature of 781. So the trade-off here with the military component is that the military component only requires 1 unit of power to function, where the competition requires 2. The military component has more component hit points, but the competition cooler has more cooling units and cools more effectively. For a part like a shield, if you can't tell, competition components are kind of my go-to in 4.0. The competition Gray B Size 2 Halter Shield has some of the highest shield hit points at 6,170. It has a high shield regeneration rate of 374, but takes 3 units of power to operate and has a low component hit point or low durability of 420. The civilian comparison: the civilian Gray B Size 2 6MA Kozan Shield has less shield hit points at 4,430, but it has the same power consumption and less shield regeneration. It also has a higher EM and IR signature than the competition shield. The civilian shield has a higher hit point pool of 700 hit points for the component durability. If the parts get damaged, or meaning the civilian part can take more damage or get used for longer periods of time. The impact on gameplay for competition parts: they're high output, right? The racing and combat. Competition components reward speed-focused playstyles, allowing for high energy output and quick responsiveness. This makes them indispensable for races or ships with time-sensitive objectives. They do have shortcomings in durability, though. The emphasis on agility and regeneration often results in lower durability and less operational efficiency, making them less effective for prolonged engagements or economic tasks. The broad availability of the components, even in Grade A, ensures that high-performance setups are achievable for most players. And one huge benefit of competition components is that they have some of the highest levels of critical performance, meaning the highest shield hit point pool, the highest cooling generation, the highest power plant output, but that comes with the cost of low durability and higher overall pricing for the component. All right, so let's talk about component grades. There are a few different grades of components, and this is going to be less intensive than the component class. But let's start with the top grade, which is Grade A components. This is the top tier performance. Grade A components deliver the highest levels of performance, including unmatched durability, efficiency, and regeneration. They represent the pinnacle of technology for each component class. The availability of Grade A components is a little to be desired. Most Grade A components are not purchasable. They require players to acquire them through missions, looting, or salvaging. Stealth Grade A components are entirely not purchasable, along with military. Some civilian, industrial, and competition Grade A components are purchasable, making them more accessible than military and stealth. But why would you want Grade A? Well, Grade A is kind of ideal for current in-game, not that we have an in-game, setup, high-stakes combat, stealth missions, or optimized industrial gameplay. The impact on gameplay: Grade A components reward players who invest time in acquiring or purchasing them, offering substantial advantages in performance and longevity. They have the most rarity among components, and Grade B parts are much more common and fairly close in performance. Speaking of Grade B, Grade B is your high balance, right? They're just like a B in real life, right? Grade B components strike a balance between cost and functionality, offering reliable performance for mid-tier loadouts with the premium cost of Grade A. Grade B components are widely purchasable across all classes except military, making them accessible to a broad range of players. Why would you want Grade B? Well, they're ideal for players looking for a really dependable performance without over-investing in high-tier equipment. Grade B components provide strong performance at a moderate cost, making them suitable for mid-tier players and versatile setups. Grade C, just like I was in high school, right? Grade C. So anyway, entry-level reliability. Grade C components are functional and affordable, offering reasonable performance for casual or early game use. Grade C components are almost universally purchasable, making them reliable and accessible for players at all stages of gameplay. Why would you want a Grade C? Well, if you're on a budget or if you have a ship that's operating kind of a low-stakes environment where cost efficiency is key, go with Grade C. Another sticking point, especially with competition components in 4.0, is that Grade C components sometimes have the same stats as Grade B components in many cases, giving the player the same performance for a lower cost, at least right now. Impact on gameplay. The Grade C components are an affordable foundation for players starting their journey or outfitting low-risk ships. And finally, the worst grade of component, Grade D. This is your basic and budget-friendly component. Grade D components are the least expensive, but they also provide a minimal functionality, making them suitable for placeholders or entry-level setups. Grade D components are universally purchasable except for military, ensuring access to essential functionality for new players. Why would you want a Grade D component? Well, you don't. You want at least a Grade C or higher, but if you need a cost-effective solution for basic operation of a ship in a low-risk environment, then Grade D is your component of choice. Impact on gameplay. Grade D components serve as a kind of a starting point, right? Their limited output encourages upgrading as soon as your resources allow you to. A lot of ships come with Grade C or higher. Not very many come with Grade D. So kind of a summary for grades here. Grade A, premium performance, often not purchasable, particularly for military and stealth components. Grade B are balanced and accessible, widely purchasable for mid-tier players. Grade C, affordable and functional, universally purchasable, ideal for your early game setup or after a wipe or something like that, right? A lot of your ships are going to come with Grade C components. And then Grade D, budget-friendly, universally purchasable, perfect for entry-level functionality. If you have, 4 or 5 different ships and you want to swap out components, you may want just to invest in some Grade D components and keep some in your inventory that you're able to swap out with another ship. Or if you bring another ship in, you want to swap components around, things like that. You can do that. So, well, that wraps up components, everybody. I hope you learned a little bit. I think I learned a little bit while doing the research for this video. It's been interesting, to say the least. It's been fun. And there's more component videos to come, so keep an eye on the YouTube channel. I am going to do the more ship and combat focused type of component reviews, right? So I'm going to be doing shields, quantum drives, power plants, coolers, QEDs, EMPs, things like that. JawaSparky, my counterpart on the channel, he's going to be doing things like salvage heads, mining heads, tractor beams, things like that. We may or may not get into missiles and guns. Not sure. Those may be their own series of videos because there is a lot of missiles, guns, and there's a few bombs out there. But there's a lot of those components out there, and that would take a little bit more time to aggregate, sort, and categorize. Thanks for watching the video. I hope it was short enough for you. Hope you enjoyed the graphics on the screen. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the video. Hit that notification bell if you want to be informed when our videos drop. And have a good day. And that's not my tagline. I guess good afternoon, Orison. See ya.